Welcome to episode 7 of What's Behind the Devil's Door, a behind the scenes look at what it's taking to create my upcoming short film, The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. Now, today we're getting a little cinematic, hence the cinematic lighting setup we've got going on. Loving the look. Now, in light of the cinematic lighting, if you pardon the pun, in light of the cinematic lighting, we're discussing cinematography and how I used the lighting and camera to create the visual style and feel of The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. Now, if that's something that interests you, obviously follow along and watch the video, but also to find out more behind the scenes content about how Devil was created, plus all other things coming along, including the release of the film, I suggest you give this channel a subscribe. Down the bottom there, you know what to do. Click that notification bell as well so you don't miss out on any of the upcoming content, because we're almost at the end of this behind the scenes road. Almost, but not yet. There's still a few more episodes to go. So keep watching, and without further ado, let's get cinematic. Visually, I knew from the very start that this film was always going to be in black and white, but the style of black and white is something I had to research. And in doing my research, I knew that there was one black and white film, that had stood out amongst the rest in recent years. And that film was The Lighthouse by Robert Eggers. That film, so well made, visually haunting, beautifully written. Everything about it is amazing. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend that you watch it. Now, the reason why I love this film visually is not because of the aspect ratio or anything like that, but it's the stark contrast between the black, the white, and the different shades that exist within the cinematography. And that all comes down to the collaboration between director Robert Eggers and cinematographer Jaron Bleshke. Now, Jaron was tasked with crafting the orthochromatic look for the film. Now, when we talk about orthochromatic film, we talk about film stock that is highly sensitive to lighter blues, violets, greens, all those lighter colors, but is not sensitive to the color red, which means something else in the film, but also in terms of the orthochromatic look, it means that we get those darker shades of black, which creates the stark contrast that I love to see in The Lighthouse. And that is something that I wanted to employ in The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. There was one scene though in The Lighthouse that visually struck me. And that scene is where Robert Pattinson's Winslow walks up the lighthouse to the lamp. He opens the lamp and becomes entranced by that light. The beauty, the horror, everything about it. He becomes just enthralled by it. And that was the spark to create the hand reaching through the wall in The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. Now, this was a new challenge for me in terms of my filmmaking abilities. I had not yet really practiced with lighting, and I knew that I really wanted to honor Bleshke's hauntingly beautiful cinematography from The Lighthouse. And so I did my research on how I could craft that on a very small budget. And after doing my research, I knew that there was a few things I needed to get. That was a fog machine to elevate the mysticism of the scene, a brand new camera and lens to film in 4K to get that quality, that crisp quality, and to be able to film in low light. And finally, I needed a light, a really decent light, a really good one, because I needed it to be powerful enough to break through the wall when we hacked through it. And I'm so glad that I found the light that I'm about to talk to you about. The Amaran 100DS. It's a beautiful little thing, and I'm so glad I got it because it's so versatile. The brightness You don't even, I've got it on now. I've got it on 1% and it is bright enough. It is so good. There's all these different effects that you can put on it. You can put it on fireworks, you can put it on a TV. If you're replicating a TV screen, you can have it as a light bulb flashing like we did in this film. So it's so versatile, and I'm so glad I purchased it, because we only needed about 35% brightness to break through the wall, to shine the light just ever so softly, so we could see Samuel's face through the hole in the wall. So that was the best purchase, along with the camera as well. That was the best purchase. So let's talk about the camera. So, the camera. What did I choose? Well, before we talk about that, let's talk about the previous camera that I used to film my very first independent short film, Visions of Color, which, if you haven't watched it, go check it out now. I used the Canon EOS 200D Mark II to film Visions of Color, and it's a brilliant little thing. It filmed my very first independent short film, and I still use it every now and then. It's a beautiful thing, and I loved filming Visions of Color with it. But I did need something more versatile when it came to filming The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. I needed something that was able to capture low lights, that was able to film this in stunning 4K, and I just needed to be able to film in a picture profile so I could color correct this properly. And that, my friends, led me to the purchase of my favorite camera ever, the Sony a7 III. I love this camera. I adore it so much. I also purchased the Tamron 80-200mm lens for this camera as well, which is so versatile too, because I am able to not only get some brilliant wide shots, I'm able to also get some beautiful extreme close-ups, which is just honestly one of my favorite parts of filmmaking. I love close-ups so much. Yeah, I was able to have so much more versatility with this camera. The way I could also film in slow-mo, or as we talk about later, the setting slow and quick. This was the best choice of camera to capture the drama that is in The Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. So now it was time to test all of this equipment, but I had a little bit of a roadblock because I could not actually test this scene until we had damaged the set. The set was still in one piece when I purchased all this equipment. I was not going to damage it yet. And in hindsight, I probably should have at least crafted a little set to test out the conditions, because I would have realized the following things if I did test. Number 1, the damn fog machine and the fog that would lift. We were filming this in the middle of winter, and little did I know that there would be such stark temperature difference between the outside weather and the fog within the fog machine. And because of that, because of the temperature difference, the fog was rising up when we wanted to billow out down to the ground in the set. So that became problematic. Additionally, when we released the fog, it made this really loud sound. It was so loud, and that impacted on the dialogue. So we had to really stop and think about how we would craft this scene and stage it in terms of the fog going up, as well as making sure that we directed Jeremiah, our Samuel Hartley, to say his lines when the fog was not being released. So that became very problematic because of just all the noise and everything. Also, lighting was not always problematic, but because it was such a low lit scene, sometimes the light would not show up on Samuel's face, aka Jeremiah. Now, we did have to reshoot this scene. So in the reshoot, I did make sure that I had another light on set just to elevate the shading of the light on the side of his face so we could see his reaction to the hand coming through the wall. And another lovely little thing that I struggled to get right until it came to the reshoot was to film in slow-mo. Now, filming in slow-mo, you think it's really easy. You think, okay, I'm going to research. Right, let's research. Okay, they say slow it down in terms of the frame rate. So you do that. You slow the frame rate down. But does that do anything? No. In fact, it just makes the footage choppier in the edit. And so I went to the manual of the camera, could not find a single page about slow-mo settings or anything. I tried researching and I thought, maybe I'm just going to have to film this in standard 24 frames per second. But it wasn't until I just sat down and tinkered with my camera before the reshoot, and that's when I found the setting to film in slow-mo. And that, my friends, is slow and quick. That is the setting you want to use to film in slow motion on the Sony a7 III. That took me so long to find, but I'm so glad that I did find it in the end because, oh my God. On the set, when I had first captured the hand going through the wall, oh, it was so beautiful with that contrast. We really did it. We actually used the lighting, we used the fog machine, we used the settings on the camera. We had rehearsed it so well. And it became the most hauntingly beautiful shot, I believe, in the film. So my advice to you, if you're starting out in cinematography or if you're about to jump into your next short film, please, I implore you to test everything, to create mock sets, to try out different settings, to take the time to learn how to use your camera and to manipulate the settings on everything that you plan to use within that scene. Because once you actually take the time to learn how to use everything, you're going to be so much more prepared. You hopefully shouldn't have to do reshoots because you'll have the knowledge of how to combat things if they don't turn out as planned. Being cinematic doesn't come easily. And being the cinematographer on this film has taught me a whole lot of lessons. That it doesn't come easy. It's a lot of trial and error until you get it right. And when you get it right, it pays off so well. So start today. Grab your camera, take it out, and experiment. Twist all the dials, change all the settings around. Really get to know your camera, because once you get to know your camera, you might find a brilliant new way to tell the story. And that is amazing. And my friends, that is a wrap for episode 7 of What's Behind the Devil's Door. I hope you learned something new today about cinematography, about lighting, about camera settings. And if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a like and comment below what you enjoyed. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because more content will be coming up soon. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe today, hit that notification bell, and yeah. Until then, this is your captain signing out, and always remember to be cinematic. Until next time.